Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. Look who's here. Cinnabon left around 6 in the morning. Now it's past 8 o'clock. Hey, buddy. Who's a good kitty? Huh? Oh, no, look, you lost one of your foods. I'll have to vacuum later. Yeah. But not when you're in the house, because you don't like that. No. We'll get you some wet food before I have to hop in the shower. All right, my friend, we got chicken and beef recipe for you. Here you go. Oh, I don't want to get your head. There we go. You enjoy that. I gotta hop in the shower, okay? Hey, there you are. You standing in the sun ray, huh? Yeah. You usually waits for me when I'm in the shower, don't you, buddy? You're just a patient kitty, huh? Yes, you are. You're a nice little patient kitty. Yeah. Now I gotta get dressed, okay? So I'm not like you. I'm not totally naked, no. Hey, buddy. Are you ready to start the super long Q&A video, huh? I'm sure he's ready. Yeah, this will be a fun one. Yeah, we're going to be all in one video, too. We're not going to do it in several parts, because that's a lot of work. And now we have the technology to do one super long Q&A video. So that's fantastic, isn't it, buddy? Yeah. Peekaboo. Hi, Cinnabon. Peekaboo. I'm just going to read some analytics real quick, okay, buddy? You okay with that? We haven't done that in a while. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started then. First, we'll do a treat time, okay? Come here, buddy. Oh, here we go. Oh, yummy, yummy. These ones feel a little bit bigger than the other kind. Yeah. Here's another. Would you like more? Here. Oh. And we have one more for this morning. Here you go. Oh, good boy. Yeah. Gonna read some analytics real quick, okay, buddy? Just a little bit. Yeah. It's always interesting, I guess, to go through those. Yeah. First one we have, for age and gender for the channel, we have 34.4% female and 65.6% male. That fluctuates quite a bit. Sometimes it's 50-50. It almost was last time, so something happened, I don't know. So the next one is age groups. 1.3% of viewers are 13 to 17 years old. Kind of goes along with not made for kids, right? And the next one is for 18 to 24-year-olds. Hey, buddy, would you fit into that age range? Maybe a little bit older in cat years, huh? For 18 to 24 years old, 18.6%. Next group happens to be the largest group, 25 to 34-year-olds, which is my age group. That is 29% even. Yeah. The next one, 35 to 44 years old, 16.4% for all the cougars out there. The next one, 45 to 54, 13.8%. The next group, 55 to 64, 12.1%. Yeah, it's boring you, buddy. Well, we're almost done with this part, then we'll get on to the questions. For 65 years old and older, 8.8%. Yeah, those are the seniors, buddy. Yeah, they have probably the most experience with anything. Yeah. So for top 5 countries of viewers, we have at number 1 the United States at 43.2%. Next place we have the United Kingdom at 7.8%, and those are two pretty much are always on top. We have Canada, 3rd place, 6.6%. They're usually up there as well. And the next is Germany, 3.5%. And then last but not least, the last 5th spot changes all the time. We have France at 2.1%. So that's pretty cool. We'll do some more countries because 5 countries is not that inclusive. So for France, we have next place at 2.1%, which is almost the same as France. They're very close as Australia. Next, we have Netherlands at 1.6%. That's where some of my heritage is from. And next place we have Sweden, that's 1.5%. And then we have Italy at 1.5%. And also at 1.5% we have Poland. And then after Poland at 1.3% we have Indonesia. And then after Indonesia we have Russia at 1.3%. And then we have Malaysia at 1.1%. And then the Philippines at 1%. And we also have India at 1%. And I believe somebody asked about Malaysia specifically, so we got that answered. Just a little bit over 1% for Malaysia. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, it's the Q&A. I forget, I think it's like 8 pages or so, which isn't too crazy. I think we've had more before. which isn't necessarily bad because most of these have already been answered. So for a lot of you, it's going to be review. So we'll go ahead and start from the top. Has Cinnabon broken something at your home? Unintentionally, of course, because he's the best kitty cat. Well, I don't remember him breaking anything. He has damaged a couple things, but nothing bad. Like when he was just starting out to be inside the house, he would occasionally scratch the leather stuff, but he doesn't do that anymore. No, he's a good kitty now. I don't really remember him breaking anything. He's really good. I know some cats are bad about this, but he doesn't bat anything off of shells like knickknacks. He tends to respect my property almost as if he understands, which he may. It's almost as if he's a person and I tell him, don't do this. So no, I really haven't had him, have not had an issue with him doing anything like that, which is nice. Question for Cinnabon. Cinnabon, hey buddy. It sounded like you said what? Do you like tuna or salmon more? Which one? You like them the same, I assume? Okay, one more question for you, buddy. Do you like chicken? Do you like chicken, buddy? He's looking at his food area. I think he does. I think you like all that. You probably thought I was telling you there's an animal out there, but there's not. Not that I know of. No, just the ones in the woods. Does Cinnabon ever sit/walk on your keyboard while you're using it? No, I don't recall him ever doing that. I do understand a lot of cats do that. He doesn't. Again, he seems to not want to go on tables and countertops. He's really good about that. Hello, can you make a guess to Cinnabon's lineage before the DNA test arrives? For fun, to see how close you are. You could also ask us to guess. A fun game. Yeah, so I would imagine in the next, who knows, 4 weeks or so, we'll have the results back from Cinnabon's DNA test. That'll be a full video. And yeah, it will be fun. In that video, I'll probably guess what it is, but I'll go ahead and say now, just like what everyone's been suggesting and kind of what I think, I believe the vet says he is a domestic long hair, which makes sense, especially at face value, but he does have some characteristics of a Maine Coon. I realize he's not a full Maine Coon because they're like 20 pounds and he's 10 pounds, but I believe he has some of that. And another type of cat that people think he could be is part Norwegian forest cat. And I think he has a touch of that, and I think those are almost synonymous with Maine Coon. I'm going to say he has a little bit of Maine Coon in him. As far as which part of the world, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's Northern Europe or Scandinavian. I know you don't want to put a GPS in him because you're scared that he's going to get stuck on a tree or something, but isn't it more scary if he gets stuck inside a building or something and you don't know where he is? But there's a lot of owners putting collars and stuff on their cats, and it's rarely any issues. Would you consider that? I've considered that before. I don't even know of a GPS product that I could use to do that. I'm assuming it's probably too big to put in his body. You probably would have to have him have a breakaway collar with it. It would be interesting. I would consider that. I just don't know, because not only even if it's a breakaway, it also can be noisy, and if he's evading a predator or just hunting like he does naturally, I don't want that to give him away. People say, oh, you should put a bell on him so he scares away all the animals he's trying to hunt, but that can also be a survival mechanism too if he's trying to evade something, right? Have you ever owned a cat or a pet before Cinnabon? Yes. When I lived with my parents and brother, we had quite a few pets. We had mostly German Shepherds, pretty much throughout the whole time we were there, and a couple turtles, hamsters, and fish, hermit crabs, things like that. Never had a cat though. Will Cinnabon ever be president? I wish. Wouldn't that be cool, buddy, if you were president? Because if you're president, that means I would be president, basically, and make all the decisions for you. That would be cool. I wish he would. Maybe someday. We'll never know. And cat years, he may be past the age of 35 too, so he could be the president of the United States. I've gotten this question a few times. The next one: how does Cinnabon smell like? That's kind of an interesting question. He really doesn't have an odor. The only thing that'll smell on him is his breath sometimes, especially after he eats, but that's it. He doesn't really smell. I'm not like deliberately smelling him to see what he smells like. It's a funny question. Hope you're not trying to eat him. What is Cinnabon's favorite toy? He has a lot of favorite toys. For the longest time, it was that green ball, which I think is at the base of the stairs down there. Right now, I would say it's probably the Dollar Tree, the green stick with the orange end. This green stick's a little bit longer. He has a lot of, it's basically, I think overall his favorite toys are the ones that have the sticks with the bell on the end and the streamers, I think overall. So anything like that, I think he likes the best. And the combination of that with the rug, when I put it under the rug, he loves that. How is Cinny interacting with kids? And how is he interacting with grown-ups and also your family members? Is Cinnabon ever jealous? I don't know if he gets jealous, really. And I don't think I've had kids here since I've had Cinnabon. I really don't think so. based on how he reacts to kids when I'm watching a movie, if a kid screams, he looks around kind of frantically. So if the kids that probably approach him like calm, like most adults do, he'd probably be okay. As far as interacting with grown-ups and my family members, he'll act a little bit scared at first, but generally he'll come around and approach him, and it definitely helps that they have treats too, of course. Have you ever tried petting Bean or go to Bean's master/owner to introduce yourself, talk about cats, and also talk about Bean's story history, and lastly, ask permission to pet Bean? That's a good question. I've talked to Bean's parents a number of times because they're my neighbors, right? So you run into them every once in a while. And one of the times I was actually on their property and just kind of talking, and Bean was walking around. I'm like, hey, I see him all the time on my property. You know, seems to be a nice cat. And they're like, yeah, he's the gentlest, nicest cat ever. And I think he is. I really think Cinnabon, I hate to say it, I think he might be the aggressor, because Bean really just, all he really does is just look at him, and Cinnamon freaks out. So who knows this cat drama, but yeah, Bean's mom picked him up and walked him over, and then I got to pet him for a little bit. He was a super nice cat, really chill. How much positive quality has Cinnabon brought into your life compared to before you met him? Would you say it was fate that brought you together? Yeah, I would say probably fate, definitely. How much definitely a lot less boring, right? As somebody to take care of, so your time's a lot more occupied. And I believe that's always a positive thing when someone's kind of depending on you, right? You can take care of them, make sure they stay out of trouble. So yeah, definitely a big positive impact. Yeah, you're a little blessing, huh, buddy? Ever tripped on his toys all over the house? I think so. I've stepped on them numerous times. I've broken a few just by stepping on them. I don't know if I've tripped on them. I ironically probably have. The closest I come to tripping is usually when I'm trying to avoid stepping on him or his toys. I'm sure it's happened before. I know it has a few times. I mean, I can trip down the stairs sober doing nothing, you know, so it's just kind of how it is. Is cat videos the only thing you will post? Not saying I don't like them because I love them, just wondering. I do infrequently post other things than cat videos, but I guess you could say they're all cat videos, because even the videos I do about guns or anything else include Cinnabon. So Cinnabon is the overall, overwhelmingly general theme of all the videos. So if I do a different video, I always put Cinnabon content in the video just to kind of keep everyone a little bit happy, even though a lot of the videos with guns upset a lot of people, but that's just what I like to do, so I'm going to do it regardless. A lot of people say you should do your own gun channel. I'm like, no, I don't really want to. Do you prefer Cinnabon with his winter coat or his summer coat? I don't know if I really prefer. I think he looks cooler with his winter coat. Like, it looks like a big fluffy line. You can see all his little fur rolls. I think it's cute overall. But I think he looks cooler with his winter coat. Just looks tougher, kind of bigger, right? Looks like he hit the weights at the gym. Will you let Bean come in your house if he wanted to come in? I don't know. I don't really want to encourage him to come in. The biggest issue with that is I know Cinnamon doesn't seem to like him at all. And if he came in the house, that could be a problem, especially if Bean, for some reason, couldn't find his way out and would hide, and Cinnamon would probably spray all over the place. So I definitely would not want to welcome that in the house. If they both were hunky-dory friends, sure, but I don't think Cinnamon's very aggressive. That's another reason I don't really think I should bring another cat into the mix unless somehow I rescue a kitten or something, and Cinnamon seems to enjoy their company. Has Cinnamon changed your life in a way you never expected? Yeah, I didn't expect to be doing such regular videos about any animal, really, but people, in this kind of, there's another question that I'll get a little bit more into this, but yeah, it definitely has added a lot more things for me to do, which is okay. It occupies my time a lot more. 2 questions. Do you think Cinnabon understands your body language and mannerisms and reacts accordingly? Yes, I think he does. That's pretty much the only form of communication that I think we both mutually understand, with the exception of sometimes vocal stuff I think he understands too. So it's a combination of both. With Cinnabon as a large part of your daily life, has your outlook changed or improved as a result? In general, I guess that's kind of an open question. Outlook changed. It really hasn't changed a whole lot. Maybe it makes me a little more nicer to people because I'm used to having something that's more or less defenseless, to care for. So perhaps that makes me a little more empathetic overall. That's the only thing I could think about, really. It prepares me a little bit for taking care of someone else or something else. Is Cinnamon good about using his litter box since he was an outdoor cutie before? Yes, and it amazed me that one of the first nights I had him in here, I brought him to his litter box. At the time, I was actually afraid to pick him up because I didn't know what he did. And I just kind of quickly picked him up. He seemed okay, maybe a little upset that I picked him up. And I put him in the litter box, and he kind of pawed in there for a little bit. And it's never been a problem since. He uses it, which is really impressive. And I've watched him go to the bathroom outside. It sounds kind of creepy, but he will use the dirt outside like he does the litter box. He'll dig a little bit, and he'll go to the bathroom, and he'll spend sometimes up to a minute or more covering it up, which he does in his litter box. So it's a natural thing that cats do. I think it's to prevent other animals from knowing where they were, which is really cool. It's really easy to train a cat. You don't really even train them. You just show them where the litter is and they just do it. Most anyway. He's really good about it. He's never had an accident. Have you ever thought about having Cinnabon and Bean befriend each other down the line? Well, of course, there's no way that I know of that I can force that. It's kind of between them two, right? I think it would be cool if they could do that. But the only cat that Cinnabon seems to react positively to was a long time ago, a few years ago, there was an orange cat that was outside. It looked kind of like him. And at first I thought it was him, even with him inside, because I was used to that. And they just kind of stared at each other. And there's a black cat that's been coming around recently. He looks kind of cute. He's kind of chunky, and he has a little white patch on his chest, almost like a little tuxedo or bow tie. And Cinnabon hasn't really freaked out at that cat. The most he'll do is meow at it. So maybe there's hope for him to have a friend. Can you even imagine life without this beautiful cat now? Yeah, I don't know, it'd be definitely not as exciting. I don't know if I don't think I would have gotten a cat. I've had a few opportunities to get a cat. You know, people always get rid of cats. Hey, I got a bunch of cats, you want one? And they're basically free. And I'd never really wanted one, so he kind of Cinnabon forced me into it just by coming over, so he got me. But yeah, it probably wouldn't be as nice. Does Cinnabon run all crazy up and down your house in the middle of the night? He has before. Some of the first nights I started forcing him to stay inside. It was I forget which year it was, but it was right as things started getting cold. I'm like, you gotta stay inside, buddy, it's getting cold. And the first few nights that I made him stay inside was not fun because he didn't know how to react to it. His schedule was very sporadic at the time, and he would just run around the house, and I could hear him doing that. But eventually, it took probably at least a week or so. Then he started calming down, then he would actually go in my bed and sleep in my bed for most of the night. It depends on the night, but he'll still get me up 3-4 times, or sometimes no times, it really depends. How does Cinnabon wake you up in the morning to let him out? Well, basically what he does, and he did this morning too, if I'm not mistaken, he'll stretch his front paws and I'll kind of stretch them over my shoulders. If that doesn't work, I mean, usually I'm up by this time, but it's kind of fun for me just to pretend to sleep, see what he does. See it at what great length he goes to try to wake me up. He'll walk behind my shoulder or beside my head, which is obnoxious, of course, so that'll sometimes get me up. But his last resort is what he'll do is he'll gently paw at my shoulder or cheek or hair, and he'll do it without his claws. So it's like a little cotton ball touching my face. Oh, yeah. So he's a good kitty. He doesn't hurt me. He knows not to use his claws. So that's pretty much how he wakes me up. He'll tap me like a few times. Like I'll do it to him. He'll be like, yeah. And that usually gets me up. Do you feel that Cinny is a source of love and light? Do you ever say I love you, Cinnabon, to him? All the time. Don't I, buddy? I always say I love you, especially before I go to work or something like that. Yeah, that's right. But I'm not. I use the W word. I'm not going to work today. It's Saturday, buddy. Yeah, Catterday. Look at how big his whiskers look. Yeah, especially compared to the brown chair. Yeah. What are some of the most adorable things Cinnabon has done that we haven't seen on camera? Also, what are your favorite foods in the world? Things that he's done on camera? Probably early on. There's pictures of this. But when Cinnabon first slept in his house, it was either the night of or the night after. His little house outside. Yeah. Remember that, buddy? First night I put his house up there, I looked out there and I saw his face in there. This is before he would let me pet him and stuff. And he looked at me and then he just fell asleep. But I did not film it back then. I wasn't filming as much. Generally, most of the stuff I would film back then was just to show people at work that were into cats. But that was really cool. Another thing he did was actually over here. He opened that cupboard that has the towel. He opened it. This is early on too. He opened the cupboard. It took him a few tries because it would just come back and close by itself. But he was able to open it and he climbed in it. Somehow opened it enough to where the door would stay open. And he just laid down on towels and just kind of stared at me. It was like his little cubby. It was really cute. Favorite foods in the world? I like a lot of food. I like pizza that's made well. I'm kind of picky with pizza. If it's crap, I don't like it. But if it's made legit, family-owned place, like an Italian family that knows what they're doing, who doesn't like pizza, right? My favorite fruit, I would have to say, is the Asian pear, also known as the Japanese pear, or Japanese apple pear, or apple pear. Those are really, really, really good. Those are my favorite fruit. I like pretty much anything. I don't discriminate with food for the most part. I like apple crisp, apple pie, that kind of stuff. Peach pie is good. I like pies a little more than cake, but I don't mind cake either, of course. How tired are you of hearing your statement, "You are not a cat person"? That quote comes up in the comments a lot. Yeah, it comes up a lot more than, it doesn't bother me at all. It's like, who cares? But it does come up quite a bit. And that one of the videos where I mentioned that has a lot of views, so I think that's where most of that comes from. But it doesn't bother me at all. There's nothing in there that's offensive. It's kind of funny. It's just people are reminding me that my statement is, my lifestyle today is a counterexample to that statement, which is totally true and funny. It just kind of shows that people can change, even just by the actions of one animal. What is the age difference between you and your brother? It's just under 2 years. We're almost, birthdays in the same month. We're just under 2 years apart. Do your parents ever press you to get married soon so you can give them grandchildren? Not really. What are your pet names for Cinnabon? Oh man, he has so many names. I call him Cinnabon. You basically in the videos hear them all. I couldn't even recall what they are. They're just kind of funny. They just kind of come out when I'm talking to them. Nothing bad, of course. Have you always loved cats, or did Cinnabon make you love them? I didn't mind cats. I want to say I loved them. My grandpa had cats all the time, especially when I was growing up, and he still had some. I believe until that day he passed away. I think he still had cats, and so I always liked them. Even as a kid, I thought they were cool. We always had dogs, so at the time I'd say I was more of a dog person. Cinnabon definitely made me love them. I would consider, after Cinnabon departs, I would definitely get another cat for sure. Probably always have at least one cat. He's pretty unique though. I don't think, I say this, but I don't think I could ever have a cat as cool as him. He's just, the cool thing with Cinnabon is I can hang out with him outside and inside. If I were to get a rescue cat, I'd keep it inside. Cinnabon loves going out. He's had that lifestyle and he loves it. So that's very difficult, I think, to take away from a cat. But if I adopt one later on down the line, whatever, or whenever, if they don't get that taste of what outside is like, I don't think they'll want to go outside that much. But I could be wrong. I've heard people with indoor cats that try to bolt outside all the time. And some other ones I've heard are afraid to go outside, so it's interesting. What was your happiest moment with Cinnabon? Definitely, I've mentioned this before, when he slept in his house the first time, because it was cold outside and I was worried about him. And I thought it was cool that he knew I made that for him, because the same night or the night after he knew. And then I remember I went to bed knowing that he was in there and safe, and I slept like a baby just knowing that he was safe. And that was sort of the event that kind of set everything in motion for me to eventually get him inside. He almost never uses the house anymore, so I keep it out there anyway. I'm sure other animals enjoy using it. Should probably check and see what's in there. There could be a wasp nest or something. Who took care of Cinnabon while you were on a family vacation? My mom took care of him. She stopped by she spent the night here with him, and so Cinnabon only had really no more than maybe a day, 2 days by himself, but spread apart with the day in between where my mom visited him. How did Cinnabon react to seeing you after being gone for a while? Did he miss you? I definitely think he missed me, because in the videos, if you haven't seen him, he loses his mind and gone. You can tell he missed me. Yeah. As far as his reaction to me coming back, one time I was gone for a few days and he acted like nothing happened, like I was just gone for work. He was hiding from me when I came back the last time. I think because there are other people here, not in the house, so my parents and brother stayed out while I was inside for him to get reacclimated to me, but he must have been terrified because he stayed under my bed and hid from me for a couple hours, but he finally came out. Yeah, and then we played and stuff. So I don't know if he's mad at me, maybe he's trying to punish me for being gone without him. Some people suggested bringing him with me, but that's not going to happen. He would hate the airport more than his daddy does. Will Cindy want, that's funny, Cindy has come up a few times. Will Cindy want to go see Santa? I don't know, that would be kind of cool. I do know of people who have brought their cat to Santa, but Cinnabon, the moment I walk out the front door with him and his cat carrier, he freaks out. And I keep him in the carrier. I don't want to put him on a leash because I do not want to lose him. And it would be very hard for him to bust out of the carrier, but he tries to. He's kind of wild when he's in that thing. And in the car, it's terrible. I don't want to put him through that stress just for a weird novelty. Even if I somehow get him to a mall or something, assuming they're even open with COVID, who knows. But if I walk him to one, he's probably going to freak out. It would be extremely uncomfortable, unfortunately. I'd have to have a Santa come here, and I don't really want to do that. It'd be kind of weird. He'd still be scared, I'm sure. Have you ever thought about writing a children's book about your experiences with Cinnabon? It would be a great story to share with children. That gets brought up quite a bit, never really addressed it. And there was one in the works, gosh, like a year or two ago. And there's even some drawings done and like story kind of outlines, and it was really cool. But unfortunately, it kind of fell through and it didn't happen. Whether or not that specific book gets done, I don't know. I think later on down the line it would be cool. and I thought it was a great idea. And what I saw looked good. It just kind of stopped. There were some circumstances there, but as far as that happening, there's not a whole lot of children that watch the channel because my videos are definitely not made for kids. So if you freak out about that, family friendly, we'll get into that later. But I think it's possible. I think it would be cool. It would be a book that I think kids would like it if it's done well. It's kind of it'd be an interesting story, especially for children. I know that Dodo Kids did a cool video, and there was a kid kind of explaining how things happen between me and Cinnabon, and I think that was a fantastic video. That in a book form, I think would be fantastic because they did a really good job making that video for kids and kind of be appealing to them. How can we send Cinnabon a Christmas gift? I've covered this a few times. I don't accept, for the 99% of the times, I don't accept gifts for both security reasons, a little bit of a health concern. Not that, I don't think anyone would deliberately try to poison either of us, but you never know. You have to be careful these days. And we do have an overwhelming amount of toys and food and care and things like that, so we really don't need anything. We definitely do appreciate all those gestures, but I always say that there's cats out there that have it really, really rough, who need homes, toys, food, blankets, clean water, all that stuff. So I think those should always be a priority. Again, we appreciate it, but we really don't have an avenue for that. And there's been very few exceptions to that, but for the most part, we don't. But we do, as I've said before, appreciate those gestures. How do you think Cinnabon would react to seeing a kitten? I really wonder, because I've played videos of kittens yelling and meowing, and I'm not sure what he would do, really. He definitely looks around the house when he hears them, so I think he's trying to help, but who knows. I think he would understand a kitten is more or less defenseless and try to protect them, but I don't know for sure. I think he would be curious. I don't think he would have a negative reaction, but I don't know that for sure. Your woods is full of poison ivy. It must not affect you. Do your neighbors find him visiting them as Bean visits you? Yes, a few of my neighbors said they noticed him before, and they say they can't get near him, which is really funny. And I've seen him walk over to the neighbor's property too. As far as poison ivy, as a kid, I never would get it, but as an adult, I think as your immune system kind of ages, you can get that kind of stuff. So I can get it, but I don't get it that bad, at least right now. I don't, but I'm also pretty conscious about wearing long pants and long sleeves, and I still get it occasionally, but it's not that bad. Both my grandpas never got it, so I think I probably inherited that, but definitely can get it today. So whatever ability that was of preventing it has sort of worn away for the most part, but I don't get it that bad. There's people that can walk out in the woods not touch it and get it just for being in the air, which is crazy and unfortunate. But yeah, thankfully I don't get it too bad. How's Cinnabon like other cats and Bean come visit him? How's Cinnabon like other cats and Bean come visit him? So I believe they're asking, how does Cinnabon like other cats and Bean visiting them? If not, I apologize. If that's the question, I don't think he likes it. I rarely see him positively react to other cats being on the property. So I don't think he likes it, but he has reacted okay, like neutral to other cats, so he may not mind. But I'm assuming the other ones were males that he freaked out at, so he doesn't seem to like other cats being his territory. They're territorial animals. A lot of people assume cats love to be in packs, and I think that's because of the Lion King and stuff, which may be different for those types of cats. But Cinnabon is definitely a lone wolf. How many hours a week do you spend making and editing and uploading videos for the channel? I am impressed how many videos you make and the quality. Well, thank you. I try to keep it decent enough, but sometimes there's some, like, I'm kind of guilty of just not editing. I just throw all the clips together and just look at the transitions and make sure they're okay. How many hours a week? It's a lot. I never really factored it, but it's a significant part of my day. I don't even know where to begin. I usually do one video a day that's at least 10 minutes. Obviously it takes 10 minutes to film, and there's a lot of stuff in between, us generally hanging out without filming. Like some of the best playtimes are without the camera because it can be more engaging with both hands and stuff like that. It's more fun for me anyway. I would say overall, with comments and social media and that kind of stuff, at least probably 3 hours a day at least. And uploading, basically I start the upload, do something, and then an hour later it finishes, so I don't really count that much. But it does take time to do the thumbnail, tags, all that stuff. Probably 3 hours is very conservative. I'm sure it's a lot more a day. So it's a lot. Over a week, it's a lot. But it hasn't really worn me down. I was kind of surprised by that because I didn't know how much longer I could do it, but it doesn't seem to just integrate it in my normal day-to-day life. So I definitely wouldn't be able to work more at my current job. I work full-time as an IT guy, And if I was ever presented with, hey, would you like to be a salary and work, more hours for a little bit more money? And I would definitely say, nope, no way I could do that. Do you ever brush his fur? Oh, yes, I do. It's just hard to film it. Do you ever snuggle up behind him and hold his paw in your hands and kiss him on the head? Yeah, I guess I kiss him on the head, the holding the paw. He doesn't really like that when I hold his paws, but it's kind of cute, I guess. Could you go back to that gas station looking for Orange Kitten? Can you go back again? I go there quite frequently, and I look, and I do ask the staff. The last thing they said is they put food out for him, and they still see him, so I'll ask him again. Maybe it's later today. I think I'll probably go there today or tomorrow. I'll ask him. And then I'll just randomly put it in a video when I'm, probably the video I'm working on today, besides this one. Would you get another cat after Cinnabon's time? I've kind of touched on this before. Or would you go back to being a dog person? I highly doubt I'd be a dog person. I got a lot of work, unless it was an elderly dog that's already trained and all that. That's not that much of a what's the word? Attention seeking. Although Cinnabon, he is definitely, right now he's pretty chill because he's tired, but when he's not tired and not sleeping, he has to be the center of attention, my attention, which is okay. It's kind of cute. I would definitely get another cat after Cinnabon's time. What's the story of buying your first gun? The first gun that I had was given to me. I inherited it from my late grandfather. It was an old .22 bolt action, a pre-World War II, probably 1930s 22. That wasn't the gun I bought though. So if you're asking about the first gun I bought, I'll actually show you. Yeah. There it is. This is the Lancaster Arms, Arizona, Romanian G parts kit with the original barrel built on a Nodak Spud NDS-3 receiver. So overall, it's a very good AK. The parts kit it was built on is from 1980, as you can see by the original serial number. You see the G. So the Romanian G rifles were built for the Romanian National Guard. So they were always semi-automatic. This one was rebuilt on an American receiver, of course, to be legal, with a certain number of U.S. parts. The company that makes this no longer exists. I'll show you what a Romanian G looks like in Romania before it's cut in half and imported to the U.S. Basically, it would have looked something like this with the exception of the Soviet mag. It would have had a steel mag. Also would have had a parkerized / blued finish, not painted. But what's indicative of a Romy G is the original stocks had the black stripe right here. Also on an original Romanian G build or gun, the G would have an orange paint on it. This is another one. This one I had built right after the other one that I bought. This one I think was built in around 2011. The one you saw before, the kit was 1980. This one's also 1980. Yep. But the other one was built probably 2009 or 10-ish, somewhere around there. So my first gun I bought. This is the first gun I had built. Basically the same gun, just retain the original Romy G. They call it a donkey dong for kind of obvious reasons, kind of funny. But it is actually very comfortable, especially when the gun gets really hot. Hey buddy, we did a little show and tell. Yeah. So it's fun, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Little show and tell. There's a lot of questions. Why do you not save the Cinnabon cat food for later instead of wildlife or other cats unsafe for... They're using a lot of graphics, so I don't really understand the question. Cinnabon's food, more or less I keep inside. Occasionally I put it outside. It's usually during the day when I'm at work sometimes, if I'm not here working from home. And sometimes I just feel like it's kind of cool to put food out there for the animals, I guess. So I don't think it's a real issue. Do you ever, for special occasion, cook up an ounce of salmon? Or, this is quite a long question. Basically, do you ever cook stuff for Cinnabon? I do. I haven't in a while, but I do have some good salmon, so I want to do that again. But I had before. He tends to like salmon. But people food, he really doesn't like that much. This is kind of weird. Some of this question I'm not going to even answer. They're asking, do I only eat junk food? No, of course I'm not gonna. It's not exciting when I film me eating green beans and stuff like that, right? Sometimes people see me doing something on video and assume that's the only thing I eat or do, and it's not the case. Okay, I don't understand the last part of the question. I literally can't even read it. Something about a jungle gym, a cat jungle gym. Well, the nature is his jungle gym. Okay, how old is Cinny? A lot of people are calling him Cinny. That's cute. Well, I first noticed him in the summer of 2017. So he's at least 3 years old, and then he looked a little smaller, but it could have been because he was skinny. I would guess he's probably 3 to 6. I know he's younger because the vet said he's younger. How did Cinnabon behave with your mom staying in the house? And did she stay there the whole time you were in Florida? No, she wasn't there the whole time, but for a lot of the time. Cinnabon, as you could see in the video, he was freaking out for a lot of the time, but he would eventually calm down and then hang out with my mom, and she could pet him and play with him. But Cinnabon would then later kind of come out of that state and then freak out again because he realized I wasn't around. So he was constantly kind of worried about me not being there. When and how did you come up with Cinnabon's name? Well, at the time he was around, I was watching a show. You're getting tired, aren't you, buddy? Yeah. I was watching a show called Better Call Saul. It's a spinoff of Breaking Bad. One of the characters works at a Cinnabon, the restaurant. I've never actually been or seen one in person before yet, or even seen their stuff. I need to check around though, because I think Walmart has some of their things. But anyway, I thought Cinnabon was a cool name because it wasn't Cinnabon. It was a little bit different, but it kind of played off that name because that's what they sell primarily. And he resembles a Cinnabon, so that was fitting. So I thought Cinnabon was kind of cute. Lex, were you surprised at how quickly you and Cinnabon bonded? I mean, you went from I don't want him spending the night inside to hi, sweetie, come sit on daddy's lap so we can do the video together or watch the video together. I think the people who are meh about cats and never had one, what do you think? I agree. I think a lot of people that have never had a cat do end up liking them. I met a few other people like that had similar stories where like they just befriended a cat or a cat befriended them. As far as how quickly it did take a few months for him to let me pet him, but after that it was pretty much smooth sailing. It didn't take that long. What was really funny is one of the earliest sort of issues I would have is we could hang out inside just like we're hanging out now, but if I was outside, he wouldn't come near me outside. It's like he wasn't quite comfortable with me outside yet, but he was inside. It was really funny how environmentally conscious cats are in that respect. What is the weight of Cinnabon? The 2 times we were at the vet, he was 10 pounds. Are you having a live chat with Cinnabon? Let us know what date and time. If we ever do that, I will let you know. My internet connectivity is awful where I live, and I'm sure it will be awful until Elon Musk finishes the satellite program, because that's going to be great if it ends up as good as I think it is going to be. So if I were to do that, there's a high chance I'd run into technical difficulties. So the only really sort of live thing I do is a premiere. Like this video, for example, is not live, but it's a premiere, so I'm watching it with you and I'm in the comments, so that's probably the closest thing. If I schedule something out in advance, obviously you guys probably would want Cinnabon in it. So that's not always easy for me to time, because if he's sleeping like this, I don't want to move him to where we're going to film, or disturb him, or he might be outside for a while. He can be outside for like over an hour or so. So that it's not exactly easy to time something with him. Have you ever tried giving Cinnabon a bath? Not that he needs one, but just curious. Get a lot of questions about that. In fact, I think there's some more in this questions sheet. No, I don't. Cats are self-cleaning unless they're sick or get into something. You really don't want to wash them. I don't know. Some cats probably enjoy it, but I don't think it's good. I've heard they have some natural oil too that you can disturb if you try to wash them, and assuming it's a non-emergency wash. Do you let Cinnabon out manually, or do you have a one-way cat door? I do let them out manually. There's, unfortunately, my house, without getting into too much detail, it's doesn't really have a good floor plan to put a cat door in. I would have to do some fairly permanent modifications to the house, and not just a door to let them in and out that way. I do know they make things to go into sliding doors, but I don't think they're very secure, and I don't want to create a security issue. Have you ever been out of the country? I have not that I know of. I've been in Canadian water, but that's the extent of international travel. I really don't like traveling that much, even within the US. Especially even before I had Cinnabon to take care of, I didn't really like being away from home. I'm kind of a homebody. Aside from trips to the vet, do you ever take Cinnabon on the road or out to a park? No, it's not really like a dog where they typically enjoy that. He hates being in the car. Maybe if I did it more, he would like it, but it really affects him. He freaks out and he's mad for hours after, so I really don't want to subject him to that amount of stress. And he wouldn't even enjoy it. Most cats don't seem to enjoy being pulled out of their comfortable environment. Will you ever consider taking Cinnabon on your next trip? Is Cinnabon ever going to meet his cat cousins from South Dakota? That would be very cute. But no, kind of like the previous question, he hates any form of travel. Even walking outside in my front porch with him and the carrier is enough to freak him out, to get him in the car. And the whole car ride, he's freaking out. Does Cinnabon ever sit on your family or friends' laps? He does, actually. He has before. Even fairly early on, he would sit in people's laps, like around the campfire. It's pretty cute. Or if I have like a party or something. How hard is it for you to make those daily video titles? Okay, you have some creative ones. Well, thank you. I even thought it would be harder than it was, but they seem to, and I'm sure I've done repeat titles a lot. I hate to even think about how many times we've used the same title. Yeah. It's really not that bad. Usually I look at the video, of course, while I'm editing, and then I comb through it real quick while I do the thumbnail. And usually something just jumps out to where sometimes I'll go in or I'll film with an idea of what the video is going to be called. And then while I'm editing and looking at it for the thumbnail, I'll decide to make it something else. Did you get a tan on vacation? Did you want to call and talk to Bon? Yeah, I did actually. When I talked to my mom, I did talk to Cinnabon on the phone, and I would say, "Hi, Cinnabon." He out here meow. It's really cute. Did I get a tan? Not as much as I thought I would. Don't you think it would be a great idea to get a puffy cat bed for the cold? That would be kind of cute. But he's inside a lot of the time in the winter. I don't know if it'd be necessary. And outside, if he is outside, he does have access to his home still, which has blankets and stuff in it. Does Cinnabon still hide in your closet? Sometimes he does. It's pretty uncommon. I don't know why. I think he just feels comfortable in there. But if he's ever on a tantrum and mad, because maybe it's like past 10 o'clock or whatever, I'm still watching or finishing a movie downstairs, and if he wants me to go to bed, if I don't, he'll still go up there sometimes and he'll hide in the closet occasionally. He tends to do it if he's in a weird mood, I guess. What are Cinnabon's treats made of? He really seems to relish them. I don't know. I would go over and read the ingredients, but they're the Temptations treats, so I'm sure most stores, at least in America, have those. You can probably read the instructions. If I were to go over there right now and start reading them, which I almost did, he would get up out of his chair, and he just had treats, so I don't want to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they put catnip in them because if I try to give him a cat kibble, like from his dry food, he doesn't really care that much. Like his little tail tip. But the treats, he loves it, so I'm sure they put something in there to get him to like it. Is it hard to post on a daily? And what would be a reason to quit the channel or post less? Oh, let's see. Post less. Eventually, when I have a family and stuff, I'm sure I won't be able to dedicate as much time and attention to the channel, so I could do like a video every other day or maybe even a week, depending how busy I am with life. Or something out of my control, obviously health issues, or if I'm ever incarcerated or something like that, that would be an issue. Hopefully it's not one of those, but you never know. Things happen, right? I have no intention of ever posting less until something like that happens where I have family responsibilities, right? Have you taken him to the vet for a chip? Mine are safer than GPS. As I said before, I will talk to the vet about that, get their opinion. I'm sure it's okay. And on the subject of vets, people have been asking about that a lot. He's a little overdue for his appointment. The particular vet I go to because of COVID or whatever, no, you're not supposed to use the C word on YouTube, but I don't really care. Anyway, what they do, and I know people that go to the same vet, is I'm sure a lot of them are like this too, is you used to go there like a normal vet, bring the cat in, and you'd be with the cat or your animal or dog the whole time. But now what happens is you go to the parking lot and they take your animal from you and they bring it in the vet without you being there, and I will not allow it. It looks funny. It looks like he's missing his front paws. But I'm definitely not going to let them have them by himself. Not to think they're going to do anything bad, but I really want to be there. And Cinnabon's more or less an escape artist too. There's one time I had to intervene to prevent him from getting out of that building. I didn't really like that. I don't really trust them. I don't want him to get loose because it's far enough away from my home to where it would be a problem if he got out of that building. So more or less, I don't trust them by themselves with him. I know they're great, but still, I just don't really think that would be a good idea. So once they change their policy and let me bring or make an exception and be with him the entire time I'm there, I'm not going to bring him there. Talk to someone who at my work who has quite a few animals, including horses, dogs. She even has wild cats outside, barn cats basically. And she knows a woman who's a vet who comes to your house. It's a little bit more money, and I'm kind of out of her range, but I'll pay extra for that. So I may do that. We may do a house call. Yeah, you heard that? You heard the V word? Yeah. We're going to come over here. And I think overall it'd be far less stressful for Cinnabon. Maybe we pick a part of the house that he's not in a whole lot for whatever he needs done. What percentage of your followers are from Malaysia? I believe it was, if I remember correctly earlier in the video, it was around 1%. Question, I've been feeding a stray cat for months. How did you get Cinnabon to sleep in the house you built for him? As I mentioned before, I knew that he would eat right by there within like 4 feet. So I put the house out there. He just automatically started going there. What it was the cold weather. So if you don't have cold weather where you're at, it may be an issue. But Cinnabon seemed to instantly recognize the need for a shelter during cold weather. So cold weather probably helped. And also, as he was in his house and eating food, I would slowly crack open the sliding door. He would always run away, but eventually he'd get used to it when he realized I wanted to attack him. Why is his ear cut like that? I've wondered about that. I've answered this a couple of times, and the reason they do that is because at one point he was captured by somebody in a TNR, trap neuter release program. that's a humane method of controlling feral cat populations or stray cat populations. Oh, he's giving us the back, okay, you don't want to look at us? It's probably a sore subject for him. So at one point he was captured, determined to be feral slash stray, unadoptable, and they brought him to a place where they fixed him, and then they clipped his ear to indicate to other people who ever runs into him in the future that, hey, this one's already been fixed, leave him alone, basically. So the idea is it prevents them from reproducing, but allows them to live out the rest of their life, which is humane in my opinion. I caught him once by mistake when he was kind of a wildcat when I was trying to catch a possum. It was a humane live trap, so no harm came to him. He just was really, really mad at me. He bolted out of the trap when I released him. He acted totally crazy. So I'm sure that when he was captured before that, even before he was fixed, he probably reacted in a fashion where they thought, we can't adopt this guy. Let's just get him fixed, get him out of here. But even at the vet, sometimes he reacts in such a way where he'll be screaming the whole time, and then he'll try to bolt, and I'll grab him from, prevent him from escaping. And the vet was kind of like, oh no, they're gonna bite you. I'm like, no, he won't. He never bites me. He acts like he's going to, but he doesn't. We have a lot more pages of questions, but yeah, like, oh my goodness. We had more than I thought we did. Yeah, this is going to be a feature-length video. I'm going to take a break. All right, here we go. Do you plan on getting a kitten for yourself in Cinnabon? As kind of mentioned before, no, unless one just happens to walk into our life. Can you do a video picking him up and hugging him? I can. Not right now, though, because he's pretty comfortable. But again, like I mentioned before, it is hard for me to do because it's hard to film myself. I had to set the camera up and just doing a video just for the sake of hugging him. I hug him all the time. I pick him up quite a bit. It's just hard for me to film. So maybe the next time I have somebody over, I can just show that real quick. And we have before. You just might have to dig a little bit to find it. When do you think the snow will start to fall where you're at? It already has. I think it was early November when it started. A little bit accumulated on the ground. We haven't really had a good dusting since then, but we're due for one anytime, really. Actually, no, it's early December. It may be a little bit, actually. Thought we were in late December already. Time's kind of weird this year, isn't it? This is another funny question. This I've already addressed, but I'll just read it because it's kind of funny. It says, is Cinnabon odorless, or does he have a particular smell? He doesn't really, that I know of. Of course, I'm a human. I can't smell as good as a dog or a cat. But he doesn't, except for his breath sometimes. Next question. I've seen Cinnabon close a kitchen cabinet for you. Has he ever handled your tools while you work on the Mercedes or the Explorer? That's funny. Or at least watch you do the repairs. He has watched me do an oil change once. I think it was the Ranger, but as soon as if I bump a tool on something, or if I go to start the vehicle or whatever, he'll run away. So he's not really much of a helper, unfortunately. Is Cinnabon firearm trained? Oh, he seems to know how to handle him, yeah, as far as him being a child and not touching him, but he'll sniff him occasionally. Were you ever in a relationship where Cinnabon acted jealous of the person, and what would you do when the person you're on a date with would tell you they hate cats? Yeah, if somebody I was dating told me they hated cats, they weren't willing to convert. Sounds funny, like a religious thing, right? Yeah, I'm sure it would not go well. Doesn't really act jealous with people. He doesn't really seem to care that much about my interaction with people. Cinnabon's a ladies' man anyway, huh? Yeah. You like it when people come over, huh? Especially ladies. What do you love most about living in the USA? I'm from the UK. It's hard for me to say because I've never even visited another country, but I do like out here. You can pretty much, with some exception, do whatever you want, provided you can afford it and not hurt anyone else. That's kind of the American experiment, right? Live free, as long as you're not impacting other people. So that's what I enjoy. I can pretty much, if I can afford it, I can buy pretty much whatever weapon I want. With some restrictions, of course. And I'm more of a collector, but I do shoot them, and I'm no threat to anyone, really. That's not asking for it. So that's something I think is really cool and fairly unique. There's other countries that come to mind that have that freedom. Ireland has it to an extent. Canada definitely does to an extent. There's some restrictions there. Ironically, Canada also can have stuff we can't have in the US, so it's kind of funny. And there's other countries in Europe. I think Austria has some pretty relaxed gun laws, and another one that I know of that's not a European country, but I believe one of the most pro-Second Amendment. I know Second Amendment's uniquely American, but other countries enjoy similar rights. And another one is Philippines. In the Philippines, I think machine guns are pretty much, compared by American standards, not as restricted, which is really cool. So there's other countries that have that. That's pretty, that's something that I really enjoy. I think the principle of it too, allowing people to have power, I think is important. Americans are also defiant. I think it's kind of in their blood, being the descendants of, well, I guess there's indigenous people and people of Europe. Most of the people that came here wanted to escape something else, live more free. So I think there's some defiance. In America, we have a history of mass civil disobedience. If our government passes a law, I use prohibition, for example. In prohibition, in America, actually, years ago, they banned alcohol. Probably not, maybe about 100 years ago, they banned alcohol, but a lot of people kind of got around it with speakeasies and things like that. And that's kind of crazy, created a really crazy underground market. But there's also some really weird things about America too, like prostitution is illegal in most of the country, and I know in Europe it's regulated. America has some really harsh, quote, war on drugs too. Some states are getting a little bit better with softer drugs like marijuana, but they come down hard on people that deal with cocaine and things like that, what the government considers hard drugs. I'm assuming most of the world is like that, but again, America, mass civil disobedience, that stuff's in a lot of places. And another example would be gun control in some other states. One state comes to mind, Connecticut. They passed what they called an assault weapons ban. So a lot of modern weapons people were forced to register them or turn them in. And I forget what the numbers were there. And they're estimates, of course, because no one really knows what exactly people have, but I forget what it was. But it was a very, very small percentage of people actually complied with that, which I think is good. Will you do any more food reviews? Yeah, I really haven't done one in a while just because running out of things to review. No, just kidding. A lot of people don't like those videos, and they're not that difficult to do, but they're a little bit more challenging to do. And yeah, they also go on to say it's really interesting seeing the different foods you guys have in the USA. Well, ironically, the last one I did, I don't think it's posted. It might have been posted by the release of this video, but I tried some food my Irish friend sent me from Ireland, which is really cool. Does he ever scratch your furniture, like your sofa or anything? Not really. The leather stuff, thankfully, he doesn't. Occasionally, when he's mad at me or wants attention, it's rare, but he'll scratch the green couch downstairs because he knows I'll react to it and go down there. How long did you live in this house before Cinnabon turned up? I first remember him June or July 2017. I moved in, I want to say it was October 2016, so it was several months. I sort of remember you saying that you hadn't been there all that long. Yeah, I guess it was less than a year. I wondered if you maybe lived there with the previous occupants. I asked them and they said they didn't have any cats, which I'm pretty sure was not truthful because I found cat toys in the house and there's a cat door in the basement. So that was kind of funny they said that. But has Cinnabon ever had an accident? No. He's sprayed though. I don't really consider that an accident because it was intentional. He sprayed a few times when I had a dog in here, so I don't have dogs in here anymore. They go on to just say they appreciate the video, so thank you very much. Question, do you get up between 3 and 5 a.m. every morning just to let Cinnabon out? If he wakes me up at that time, I do it. Lately, he's been pretty good. It's usually around 6 or so now. It changes, though. After Cinnabon came in for the first time, how long was it before he discovered his chair and started sleeping there? I don't think it was very long. I really don't remember. But I think he liked it because I like to sit here, just kind of in the center of the house. I have a good vantage point of everything outside from here. So I tend to sit here a lot on this bar stool. And Cinnabon likes to be near me, and this is the closest thing. I think that's probably why he did it. The closest, most comfortable thing he can sit on. Are there any foods your son, Cinnabon, doesn't like, and how many times a day does he sleep? I don't know if cats sleep all the time. I don't know if it's necessarily, I don't break it down how many times. He sleeps at night with me most of the night, probably at least 6 hours at night. And he sleeps most of the day too. I forget what the numbers are. Cats sleep most of the time. He probably, if I can't really break it down how many times he actually sleeps, but he sleeps all the time. Foods he doesn't like most people food. As far as cat food he doesn't really care for the pate stuff. Or if you give him food that has big chunks with gravy, he'll lick up the gravy and leave the big chunks. He's definitely a picky eater, so he's spoiled. When he rolls on his side, will he let you pet his stomach or does he become a hairy bear trap? He doesn't really mind me petting his stomach like a belly rub, which is pretty cool. Can't you give Cinnabon a proper shower at least once a week? A proper shower for a cat is them bathing themselves, as I said before. They don't require showers like a dog does or people do. They keep themselves really clean if they're healthy. What have you learned about cats since becoming a fur daddy? Oh, I learned a ton about cats. I can't even tell you. It's become a little bit of a cat expert because of everyone online and then at work. Learned all kinds of stuff. I learned they're not as standoff. That's the biggest thing is they're not as standoffish as everyone thinks they are. They're actually kind of social. They're very somewhat social. Did you have any idea when you started this that Cinnabon would become so popular? No idea at all. In fact, a few of the videos I thought would get some mild interest, and I put them up there Most of the ones I posted were actually ones that I kind of discovered later that I only filmed just with the intent to send to people at work and stuff that like cats. But as I realized people enjoyed them on YouTube, I put them out there. But yeah, the only one that I expected, my brother always said, he's like, yeah, this one I think people would like is the one where it comes inside for the first time. That's one that really put him on the map and drew people in. So I never thought it would go even close as big as it did. But I did think it was interesting because he was so poofy and just needed help and came inside the house. What did you like most during your trip to Florida? I never could get past how cool palm trees were. I thought palm trees were awesome. It's the first time I've actually seen real ones. To actually be in an environment where you had palm trees, I thought was really cool. I wish I could have one out here. It'd be so cool because I like trees and I was kind of curious as to what kind of wood it is. It looked like nothing I've ever seen before. It was really cool. Really unusual for me. What do you think is going on in Cinnabon's head when you talk for minutes at a time compared to other animals' short bursts of sound? That's a really good question. I have no idea. I think I really can't even begin to understand what he's thinking. Have you played some other cat videos? And if you do, does Cinnabon come to investigate? He does. In fact, I want to do a video of him doing that too. It's kind of funny. He'll walk up to whatever device I'm playing. If it's a cat in distress, like going to the vet, he'll look around the house or he'll go to the door thinking they're outside. Whenever my cats hear me out from the laptop, they come over to investigate. Yep, he definitely does that. Lex, who takes care of Cinnabon if you have to travel on vacation or business? Definitely my parents. Does Cinnabon like to be brushed? Yes, he does. Yep. What type of phone are you using now? I have an iPhone SE 2020, the second edition iPhone. That's basically the budget iPhone, but by my standards, I'm an IT guy, but I don't really care about having the fanciest. I don't need to have the iPhone 12 Pro, crazy stuff like that. I think it's a fantastic phone. Does Cinnabon sleep with you? Yes, almost every night. If he does, do you find yourself waking up stiff because you do not want to wake Cinnabon? Not really. I did happen to wake up with a kind of a sore back 2 days ago, but that could have been something I did. But generally, it's a non-issue. Have you ever considered doing merch? Yes, that's something I wanted to do this year, at least t-shirts, and it hasn't come to fruition yet. I don't think it will this year, but it is something that I'm sure you'll probably see later on down the line. They go on to say, I think it'd be cool if you had a shirt that says infamous, I'm not a cat person, with some sort of cool graphic of you and Cinnabon. That would be cool. What do you love the most about Cinnabon? Do you think you'll adopt Bean? Bean, like I mentioned before, belongs to neighbors here, so I'm not going to steal their cat. What do you love most about Cinnabon? I like how, like when we're outside, he'll follow me around. I can have a campfire outside, he'll hang out with me, he'll hang out with me inside. He's pretty much always by me, which I think is cool. I'm enjoying a surge. What's Cinnabon? All right, what else? What next question? I get kind of lost in these. Congratulations, Lex. Thank you. By the way, I tried to make this video before we hit 90,000 subscribers. Hopefully that happens, otherwise it'd be kind of weird. Lex, I noticed that you pulled a burr out of Cinnabon's paw and that he just became docile immediately. Has he ever scratched you or hissed at you? Or is he as mellow as he looks? The only time I ever thought he hissed at me was before he let me pet him. I heard something hiss under the deck. It could have been at another animal, but it also could have been at me when he was afraid of people, I suppose. He'll scratch me occasionally, but usually it's if I deserve it. If I'm playing too rough or something like that, he'll bite me. But it's never like an actual, like I realize he's capable. He could sink his teeth into my arm if you want to, but he's never done anything like that. It's never bad. And if he scratches me, it's almost always an accident. Unless they're playing rough or something like that. Hi, Lex, where did you get the snack stand on your coffee table? Right now it's empty, but my dad gave it to me. I believe he got it at an antique mall. It was for peanuts. I believe it's over 100 years old based on the price. 5 cents for a bag of peanuts, which is pretty cool. Will Cindy get Christmas gifts? Absolutely. I'm sure we'll do a Christmas tree video too, all that fun stuff. You say that Cinnabon goes out at 3 in the morning sometimes. Yep. Generally, it's been a little bit later than that, which is nice for me. Does he wake you to go downstairs to let him out? Sometimes he does. Sometimes he wakes me up. It's weird. He'll wake me up and then he maybe intends to go outside, but he'll stop at his food bowl and start eating, and then I'll go back to bed and I'll sleep for an hour or two before he wakes me up again. So I don't know if he just wants, he does this when I'm downstairs too. He'll like yell at me to get up. Then I'll go upstairs and all he'll do is go to his food bowl and start eating. So I don't know if he wants me to think or know he's eating. It's interesting. If he just does it for the sake of doing that, it's kind of a jerk move, isn't it? What kind of native trees do you have on your property? Which ones does Cinnabon favor for climbing and gentle merriment? Honestly, I don't know what the word merriment means, but context clues, that's cool. Always down for learning a new word, huh? So what kind of native trees? I don't know if actually native to the state, I'm assuming they are, but I don't know if they're yellow or white pines. They're tall pine trees that are very straight. And unless they're facing where the woods are ending, they tend to only have green at the very top. So they're either yellow or white pines. I can't remember. They go really straight like telephone poles. And I don't think they live that long, probably under 100 years. Most of the ones I have are probably, I would have to guess, 20 to 70. And other ones are black cherry. It's a hardwood. Those are really cool trees. I have a lot of those. And I also have some oaks that I'm sure were planted. But what's really cool is the oak trees are actually, they sprout out babies all over the woods. So eventually I'm sure my woods will be mostly oak and black cherry, which is good. And I also have some ash trees. Unfortunately, as you've seen in some videos, the ash trees in my area, the ash or elm, they're basically the same. I can't really tell them apart. But I have a few of those. Some of them are completely dead. The other ones are dying, and it's unfortunate. There's nothing you can do about it. So they have this invasive bug species that kills them. So hopefully, I'm hoping that there's some out there that are somehow resistant to these bugs and flourish. But maybe as the bugs, maybe the bugs will kill them all, and there'll be a couple little ones that they missed, and they'll eventually flourish again after the bug population dies. We can only hope something like that happens. I have 1 or 2 walnuts in the very back of the property, which are huge. As far as which one's Cinnabon's favorite, it's actually one of the worst trees. It's a box elder maple. It's a junk, fast-growing tree. They're not that strong. And Cinnabon likes to climb them because they're the ones that they'll grow sideways sometimes. I have one that's in an arch. He likes to climb those because it's not a direct climb, if you will, straight up. It's more of an arch or sideways. So he tends to enjoy climbing those the best, which is kind of funny. Is Bon and Bean still warring over territory? Oh, yeah. Has Cinnabon ever groomed you / licked you? And have you ever kissed Cinnabon? I kiss him on the head sometimes. Has he ever groomed me? Yes, he has. He has licked my arm a couple times. Actually, it's probably often. If I'm like really sweaty, like working on a car or something, or what have you, he'll lick my arm or whatever. It's kind of cute. Have you ever read or watched A Street Cat Named Bob? I need to see that. Everyone recommends. I just haven't seen it yet. Question: how many rodents or birds has Cinnabon killed? I can't tell you how many. I'm sure over his lifetime, probably hundreds, and that for sure at least a few dozen from what I've seen myself. I'm curious as to what touched you the most about Cinnabon. I used to have a cat who would greet me with kisses, and it would make me feel so special. Yeah, that's definitely something that I feel too. Is there anything that he does that particularly warms your heart or makes you feel loved or a special bond more with him? Probably when he talks to me. That and him following me around and talking to me is really funny. Or when he's kind of grumpy at me, like at night, and I realize all he wants me to do is go to bed just so he can sleep with me. I think that's really cute too. Or what I'll do too is sometimes if he's not sleeping, obviously, he'll walk up to me when I'm sitting down right here and just look at me, and I know what he wants is he wants me to lay down on the couch and lay down, which is really funny. This is a funny question. How are you doing? I'm doing very good. Really no problems. Nothing bad. That reminds me of this is a kind of a not really personal, but I remember I had some issues at work and I was called into someone's office and they're like, yeah, we heard you had some, may not be having a great time, something going on here. They started and it was very nice. It was nice they were reaching out. Because I had some problems with some things going on at work. And the first thing they asked was, everything at home okay? And I said, oh yeah, absolutely. Everything at home was perfect. And it was, because all the problems were at work, which I thought that was kind of funny. But you got to start somewhere, right? But yeah, everything is good. Thank you for asking. Has Cinnabon ever scratched or bitten you? I kind of touched on this before. Yes, but really not that bad. It was more of a play thing. Sometimes it's kind of fun. I know it's not nice, but sometimes I kind of bother him and he'll try to bite me. But sometimes I'm faster than him too, which is fun. So I'm sure we're just playing, because if he really wanted to, I know he could just put a whooping on my arm or something. When are you going to get Bon a kitten brother? Again, it's going to have to be an opportunity that sort of presents itself and feels right at the time. I'm not going to just do that because it could introduce a conflict. How do you feel about the community you inadvertently created? I think it's really, really cool. Overwhelmingly positive too, so thank you all for that. And what's really neat too is, no one really needs to police anything because everyone kind of does it themselves. And if somebody, there's it's the internet, right? So you're going to get people that are inappropriate or just bad or mean, or they'll say something like I have a dark sense of humor, so I can appreciate those jokes. But sometimes people will say things that are really terrible. Like some people will comment, oh, I would have just killed him or poisoned him and he's coming in, Cinnabon's coming in the house. Shouldn't say that, but some of them are probably joking. But there's some people that go a little bit farther than that, and that's what bothers me is when they'll talk about how basically say they just kill cats and don't care whose cats they are. They just kind of brag about shooting cats in the yard, and I don't like that at all. That's something that I do have a problem with. Question: can I have Cinnabon? Nope. Would you consider making your own cat treats or cat food just once for a video idea to see Cinnabon's reaction? That would be cool. I appreciate the idea. I guess my question is, would you ever try to grow your own? I'm not sure what kind of mushroom it is. Shiitake, Shiitak, shiitake. I'm not sure what those are. I'd have to do some research. But mushrooms, I know I'm sure you're probably not referring to the morels that I get on my property. Those are very hard to cultivate. Question, are you dating or looking for a mom for Cinnabon? Love you and Cinny. A lot of people call him Cinny, right? That's kind of cute. I'm always on the lookout, unless I'm actually dating somebody. I'm always on the lookout for a new mom for Cinnabon. Did Cinnabon love snow and winter? I don't think he likes it that much. He still goes out occasionally, but he takes forever to actually leave the house when he wants to go out, and he'll only stay out for a little bit. So I don't think he likes it that much, mostly because of the temperature. This slightly random question is actually from my mom, who also loves your videos. Do you, by any chance, watch Bald and Bankrupt? He's a traveler vlogger who often shows really interesting tidbits of Cold War era history. It sounds like something I would enjoy. I have not seen it, though. Not that I know of. I may have and just not realized it. And we figured you might have heard of him since you're into history, too. Well, thanks for the question, and thanks for bringing it up. So I guess I don't think I've seen this, but I can look into him and kind of see. Thank you. Were you in the military? I was not. So I never claimed to be. But occasionally, even in person, I have, you've probably seen it before. It's German Flecktarn. Sounds like a swear word, but it's Fleck, F-L-E-C-K, Flecktarn. It's their camouflage pattern. I have a German coat, has German flags on it. I wear it when I work on cars or do chainsaws. It's kind of a beat up coat, but it's comfortable in this time of year. But I went through the Burger King drive-thru and I had it on, and the woman says, "Thank you for your service." And I immediately said, "Oh, no, I was never in the service. This is a German coat." She's like, "Oh." I mean, I don't expect people to recognize country flags, but that was kind of funny. Like, I said, it's not like I'm from Germany. She should be concerned if somebody uniformed from a different country was in here, right? But that was kind of funny. But no, I was never in the military. Okay, so this question was asked in French. I actually went through the effort of translating it online. So, question, does Cinnabon sleep outside at night? No, unless he does without me knowing. He sleeps during the day sometimes outside. I've been out there and I just notice him just sleeping. I'm like, "Hey, buddy." You are both adorable. It's no coincidence that this little bit of a cat has arrived in your life, and I love watching it. Well, thank you very much. Are you glad that you took in that fluffy ginger fur ball? I bet you are, absolutely. Have you ever taken Cinnabon with you, let's say when you visit your parents, or if not? No, I haven't. He would freak out. I'm sure it wouldn't be worth it because he'd probably freak out and hide for hours. Will you ever bring him with you outside from the vet? Probably not. I was just wondering if the poison ivy affects Cinnabon. I haven't noticed it. Maybe his fur prevents it. Does he instinctively keep away from it? He may. I don't know that for sure. A lot of people freaked out about all the daylilies, saying how dangerous they are to cats, which they are. We have daylilies all over the neighborhood. I see them when I drive around, and there's cats in the neighborhood too, obviously. I think they just know to stay away from it because I've never heard of an issue, at least over here and with Cinnabon with it. And they're also asking that I don't seem to be affected by poison ivy. I get it a little bit, but it's not bad. It's probably only going to get worse. I know a lot of people will never get it, and then as they get older, they get it. This question looks like it's for Cinnabon. Are you trying to get more subs with that cute move? With that cutie move, rather. Who knows? I wish my dad always asked, does Cinnabon know he's famous? I don't know. I think all cats think they're famous, right? How do you like your current work situation where some days you go to the office, some days you work from home compared to before? And do you have a preference, office, home, or split like it is now? I really like the office more. It was really hard for me to get used to working from home because to me, when I'm at home, I don't like to do anything work related. Like I'll even get mad if somebody calls or texts me after hours or early in the morning. I just don't like it. I like to have that separation of home and work. You know, the work-life balance in it. While I'm working from home, it took me a long time to get used to that because I'm at home. I should, be enjoying myself, having fun with Cinnabon, but I can't because I'm working. But I'm at home. It was weird. Once I got past that, it's a little bit better, but I still prefer to be in the office. Right now, it's pretty sporadic. Still, some days I'm working from home, some days I'm not. There's really no consistency. And that's going to be the way it's going to be for a long time, I think. But really, I shouldn't even care because I'm just happy to have a job. I know a lot of people are not in a good spot financially because of what's happening right now. And there's people that are hurting really, really bad right now. So my heart goes out to those people. What's your favorite color? I love that because I ask people that same question. It's a fun question. I'm going to go with the basic blue. Everyone loves blue, but purple's my second favorite color. Would you ever agree to keep Cinnabon indoors unless you are outside with him? Humans can be cruel and sadistic to animals. That's very true. It's unfortunate, but people are sometimes the most dangerous animals and worst ones. But I thought about that, but he does like to be out there. And I think if that ever happens, he'll be older. When he's a senior cat, I'll probably be a little more restrictive on when I let him out. My first question is, where is everyone on from here? Earlier in the video, I kind of went over that. Good day from Australia. That's very cool. My other question is, do you have a brush for Cinnabon's beautiful winter coat? Yes, I do. I haven't done a brushing video in a while. In America, do you do the vet checkup pre-winter or after winter? Usually it's in the summer. I don't know if it's supposed to be. It's just generally when mine appointments fall. Are you Jackson Galaxy fans? I honestly don't know what or who that is. I'm sorry. I'm kind of not with the times. So a lot of times people mention a celebrity and I'm like, I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. What is your favorite part of Europe? I've never been there, so I can't say for sure. But if I ever visit Europe, I would visit my buddy and his family in Ireland. That is the Republic of Ireland. What is Cinnabon's favorite part of your awesome house? Does Cinnabon pay rent? I suppose you could say Cinnabon pays rent in the form of killed animals. Occasionally he'll bring them to me. What is, okay, so his favorite part of the house, besides here, where does he just end up? You know, if I don't do anything with him, he just kind of goes off on his own. He'll go on that blue chair up there or on the bed, and the same thing with the downstairs guest room. He'll do that. So he likes the guest rooms, which is kind of funny, but pretty much the whole house is his. P.S. Why didn't you stop by when you were here in Florida? I would have had a surge waiting for you. Why? I appreciate the gesture. That would have been fun. Okay, so this is going to be probably a while to address this one. I know you're a nice guy, but I haven't really watched your video after you said in the past it's family friendly, but had a video talking about cocaine and put a sour taste in my mouth. Is it family friendly again, or are there more talks about drugs and not safe for kids? Kids will learn it by school, but if I want my kids to watch kind friendly cat video, then it's about cat and not cocaine. It's not the right place. Well, I've gone over this before, and family friendly, this may have been the same person that asked this before, I don't know. If not, it's good to address anyway. Family friendly varies from person to person. YouTube has their own site for kids called YouTube Kids, I believe, or something like that, or YouTube for Kids, which is suitable for children. My videos are not made for kids. In fact, officially they are not. This is like a year ago. YouTube had every creator say if their videos are for kids or not, and mine did not fit the criteria at all. And you may think it's fairly innocent because they're videos, you know, of an adult interacting with and talking to a cat, but even the audience is less than, I think it was like less than 1.5% people under the age of 13. So the viewers aren't even children, and they're not made for kids. An example of a video made for kids is like Thomas the Choo Choo Train, educational stuff like Blue's Clues, Mr. Rogers, that type of stuff. This is not that at all. I do talk about sometimes adult, sensitive subjects on here, and always have. And there's videos of me blasting away with heavily restricted weapons. That's, it's not really for kids, although kids probably love that, but which is irrelevant. The videos are not intended for kids. So family friendly and made for kids, in my opinion, are not the same. Family friendly to me is something that, generally you can watch and have the whole family see and not have it be too uncomfortable. I don't really talk about sex or show bad pictures or talk about, degrading acts or anything like that. It's mostly Cinnabon playing, which happens to be pretty innocent, but there's sometimes I talk about sensitive political stuff, as it relates to firearms. Sometimes I talk about drugs, alcohol, sometimes jokingly about abuse of such items and things like that. It might be an occasional hooker or prostitute reference, but that's just me, right? I have a very dark sense of humor, which most of you never get to see, or some of you kind of sense it, which is funny. This is not a channel that kids should watch by themselves, because any child really should be supervised. I'm not a parent, but I can say, with my brother being anxiety ward, all kids, even teenagers, really should be at least have somebody with them when they're on the internet, because there's really my channel is the least of your concerns, I'll tell you that much, as far as the internet goes. If I make a joke about cocaine or something like that, that's extremely tame in comparison to what's out there. So if you don't feel my channel is suitable, for your child, it's because it isn't, and they shouldn't be watching my channel. And I welcome anyone that doesn't feel comfortable with my videos to not watch them. It's as simple as that. And I'm not going to change my content and make my channel into something that it isn't today, because it's always been consistently like this. Really, I haven't really changed. I've always had gun videos, except now my gun videos include Cinnabon, so it's a little bit different. It's under 2% of my viewers are kids anyway, so I'm not going to adjust my content to appease a small minority of viewers. And again, videos are not made for kids. A really good channel if you want your kids to watch stuff that's actually safe for kids would be Dodo Kids. I know that there's one they did on me and Cinnabon, which is great. And there's other channels out there. There's a whole YouTube for kids, which is safe to turn your children loose on, but still got to watch what your kids do online. Some of my videos are not, a lot of them happen to be mostly okay for children to watch, but they're not. It's like watching a PG or PG-13 movie. That's probably the best equivalent I can think of. A PG-13 or PG movie, if you watch that with your parents, it's not going to be uncomfortable. And again, family friendly. That really varies per the individual. Like my idea of family friendly obviously is different from yours. I'm sure a lot of people would say that. There's, quote, family friendly places that are probably very uncomfortable for people to watch. So in short, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Simple as that. Have you ever thought about putting Cinnabon in commercials? That's funny. I'm sure that wouldn't be up to me. I don't have that amount of pull just to throw them in a commercial. That'd be really cute though. But I don't think so. I don't want them to, I don't know. I feel like if you're filming a cat for like a commercial purpose, it just might be kind of weird because I'm sure they'll have people instructing him and, airbrushing makeup and all that. I don't know what they do with animals in commercials, but I don't want to, I don't want to commercialize them, I guess. But I'm sure it'd be cute to maybe just do a one-off video or something like that. Does Cinnabon change your personality in any way? And how has he impacted life? I've kind of gone through this already. Maybe, if anything, a little more empathetic, I suppose. What is it that you work as, Lex? International man of mystery? That's funny. It's not that exciting. I work in IT, which is information technology. What is Cindy's favorite season? I would say probably spring and summer when it's warmer outside. He spends so much time outside when it's warmer, which makes sense because I believe cats are indigenous to Africa and it's warmer there. Does he like to lay in sunlight and tan? He likes to lay in sunlight. In fact, this morning you saw that little beam of light on the top of the stairs. He was hanging out in there waiting for me in the shower. So I would say yes. Does he enjoy the Christmas tree? He does. He's really good about not climbing it, probably because there's real trees outside and he can probably tell a difference with the smell. He will bat at the ornaments on there, though, which is kind of funny. So I try not to hang them too low. Could you make another predator catching video with your brother in which you both negligently discharge your weapons at their predator repeatedly? And self-defense, obviously, that's funny. I'm sure probably there may be a crossover. Occasionally there are. I know it's kind of funny. In some of his predator videos, my brother will inject clips of Cinnabon meowing, which is really funny because it's kind of out of context, but in a way, sort of related. But there was one big one that we were in together. I don't think we'll do anything like that again because there's a lot of risks with that kind of stuff. But I'm sure you'll see little bits and pieces of them kind of cross over together. Do you think he was a wildcat or did someone own him before you? I think somebody owned Cinnamon before I did. Question, are you a member of one of the Michigan militia groups? I'm not. That's a funny question. No. If I was, I wouldn't tell you, but I'm not. But although technically I think in America, there's an act. It sounds bad, but I think it's called the Dick Act. It's really old. And I think most people in America, but in America, I think men of a certain age group are automatically, technically considered part of a militia. So, but no, not specific to Michigan, though, no. This is a really long question. I'm probably only going to answer a couple of them because it's funny. This next question, I think it's like 10 questions, but each of the questions has like 5 questions inside of it, which is a little crazy. So it reminds me of school when they say, oh, you got 5-question quiz and there's like A, B, and C under each one. So it's like, that's BS. Not in the case of this question, that's fine. If Cinnabon develops a condition in which he can no longer go out alone, as he would really risk death. Okay, they go into extreme detail here. Wow, they use foul language too. Oh no. I can't read it because, keep it family friendly, right? Wow, they use some very foul language. Okay, so I guess the meat and potatoes to this question, if Cinnabon outlives you and you remained unmarried at that point, what would happen to him? Wow. So that means, so if I'll be like in my, well, I don't know really how old he is. Let's just say he lives 20 years. That would put me in my late 30s, early 40s. And if I somehow die, then that's a good question. I don't know. I hope somebody in my family would take care of him. Who in the family would be best? I have no idea. Because we never had cats growing up. I'm sure any of them could really take care of him. Theories on Cinnabon's background before moving in. Okay. My theory that I think is correct, who knows though, is I think he was dumped out here, deliberately dumped out in the woods. A lot of people do that. Better than killing them, I guess, but they say, oh, I can't handle this cat anymore. I'm just going to dump him out in the country and he'll live free. So I guess I'm happy they did that instead of hurting him. They're asking about evidence that he had a human home based on his behavior. Well, he knew how to open cupboards really early on, and he also knew not to go on tables and countertops, so I think he had a home before. Yes, he was fixed when I met him. Yep, just reading through all the questions. Don't think I'd ever try to introduce him to another animal unless it was a kitten. Even then, I don't know if I would do that. Okay, next question, and the same person asking, what is your problem with Cinnabon getting on the table and other places you bar him from? Well, he really doesn't go on those services enough to really even have me say, no, don't do that. It's very rare. I think it's only one time I had to tell him to get off a table. But I guess let's just assume he goes on tables all the time. It's the reason you don't want cats or any animal on a table. It's a place where you eat, right? It's sort of like putting your feet on the table or sitting on the table. You just don't do it. It's kind of just a house rule, right? It's almost like when you're in your car. If you're a passenger in a car, it's rude to put your feet up on the dashboard. You just don't do it. You don't want your feet. The car is a different thing, but you don't want to put your feet on a table where you eat. What are your thoughts on becoming a content creator? How do you feel about it and the fact that you and Cinnabon are growing in popularity and moving into the public eye on the internet? It's interesting. It's everything you do is, well, and on film, of course, is analyzed, and it took me a little bit to get used to that. But now I just more or less learned to more or less, and not that I don't appreciate people's opinions. Sometimes I don't, honestly, but I just ignore a lot of it because you can't read all the comments. I know early on for only like a few months I would read every comment. Impossible to do right now, and there's no way I could do it. It would take hours, and it was just not worth it. And my brother's coached me a lot on that too. His channel is way more popular than mine. He says you can't read the comments. I think he reads a little bit of his. I would guess I probably read 5% of mine, but you can't read them all because there's some. You just can't. You can't even read them, much less reply to everything, right? Are there any new ideas for content you'd like to try at some point? Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'll open up one of my idea notepads and I'll read you some. Maybe they'll get made, maybe they'll not. Does Cinnabon react to videos of cats? He does. This is a good question because when I would edit videos, and of course I'd be playing back audio, he would react to his own meows, and now he doesn't. He seems to know that I do it enough to where he doesn't care, but he'll react to other cats' meows, which is interesting. You mentioned potentially showing him reacting to cat videos a while ago now. I did. That's one of my ideas. I just need to make it. It's probably not that difficult to do that. Do you consider Cinnabon more of a son or brother? More of a son, I suppose, even though I call him brother. Even though he's an adult male, you often talk to him as though he were a kitten, but I think he's experienced and strong and should be talked to like a man. That's a funny question. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's an animal and he's much smaller, so of course I'm going to have that natural kind of a speaking tone with him as if he's a child. Okay, on my computer, which is in front of me, I have some video ideas. So this one's going to be hilarious. This one probably won't happen for years because I don't even have the gun for it yet. But the video title is, the working title is Gold Titanium Tiger Striped Desert Eagle with Cinnabon. It's a really exotic looking pistol. It's going to look really cool, but they're like a $2,000 pistol, and I don't want to spend $2,000 in a handgun. So that could be years before that comes to fruition, if ever. But that's one of my funny ideas that some people will hate. And the one, of course, I mentioned is watching cat videos with Cinnabon. I'll probably do that sometime. Drinking a 10-year-old Mountain Dew. That's more for me, obviously. I'm not going to give Cinnabon that. But it's probably like 11 or 12 years old by now. But I have an old Mountain Dew that I'm going to probably drink. I've done it before with soda. It's not dangerous if it's in a can. I don't recommend doing it, but it'll be kind of a stupid, fun video. A lot of people have funny comments that just have a good ring to them. So what I do is I save those and I put their name and just give them a shout out when I do it. This is by Adrian. Their username was just Adrian. They said Cinnabon, the creature of darkness. So if I ever do like a funny Halloween video, I call it Cinnabon, the creature of darkness. When I do an old book collection, there's another kind of funny thing. Cinnabon has sort of an internet girlfriend named Katniss, and we've done a weird kind of funny, cute video with that. And I have a name for that called Cyber Cat Connection, which would be kind of cute. They do like a Zoom meeting again. Winter Coat Wednesday. I may have already did that one. Bon the Builder. I think somebody in the comments said Bon the Builder instead of Bob the Builder. I thought that was really cute. So if Cinnabon ever helps me build something, I'll do a video called Bon the Builder instead of Bob the Builder. So another funny one by a user named CK was Celebrity. So we'll maybe figure out something to do with that. Okay, we have a half a page of questions left. Hey buddy, I thought I'd do the last part of the question with me on the video. Cinnabon's sleeping, so I don't want to disturb him too much, but I probably already am. How was Cinnabon's transition to living inside? Any curious or negative things that you noticed? Not really. He never really fully transitioned to being inside all the time, and that I don't force him to stay inside all the time. But he's inside a lot more. He seems to not mind it. I think my dad's mentioned this too. He can actually sleep and relax inside too. He knows no one's going to attack him, except for his daddy, which I don't do anyway. So, yeah, a little seed in your hair, buddy. Well, I get it. Oh, it's okay. There we go. Yeah. No more birds anymore, it's just seeds, basically. After your vacation, did you feel sad when you saw your mom's video showing him crying so hard? Actually, I saw that while I was on vacation, so he sent it to me, and yeah, I was not happy about that, but I kind of expected it a little bit, so what can you do, right? When you set wood in the fire pit for future, doesn't the rain affect being able to light it? That's a good question. It'll get wet, but after a day or so after that, if it doesn't rain that day, it will dry out pretty quickly, so it's not an issue. And it doesn't really pool with water. The water will go through the ground, so it's not like it's collecting water in the bowl either. When is Cinnabon's next visit to the vet? I've already mentioned this before. It's probably going to be, hopefully, it might be early next year by the time I actually have somebody come out here and do it. I don't think I'm going to go to the place in person because I don't want them to be all by themselves with you. No, I need to be there to make sure everything's good. Who took care of Cinnabon when you were in Florida with your family? My mom did. Approximately how long did it take Cinnabon to come inside your home? So I noticed him in June or July, and at that point I hadn't left food for him because I just assumed he was a neighbor cat, even though he's pretty thin. I thought something was up. When he would consistently come over, probably a few months after that, I would put food out for him. And probably between the time I started doing that, it was probably a couple months, I would say, altogether. Why did you start taping Cinnabon and start posting on YouTube? Has anyone been creepy to you about it in your life? Not really. Like in real life, not a whole lot. It's a little unusual, of course. Most people don't do that kind of a thing. But why? Most of the videos I recorded were actually intended just to show people in person, like at work. I was telling a lot of people about, Cinnabon and things like that. And they were giving me a lot of good advice on how to get them inside. So I'd show them videos of progress, And eventually I decided to post a couple on YouTube, just thinking maybe some people would enjoy seeing them that are outside of my normal social circle. And apparently they did, so it's pretty cool. Why do you guys get up so early? That's a question for Cinnabon, I think. Cinnabon, why do you get up so early, huh? Why do you get up so early, buddy? Oh, he sounds very tired. Okay. Is it because Cinnabon wakes you up? Yeah, pretty much. Or they're also asking if I'm one of those chipper morning people. I don't always like to get up early, but when I do, I'm pretty much up, which is good, I guess. How many months after Cinnabon? Cinnabon's funny. It sounds like a rapper name. You Cinnabon? Cinnabon? He's tired. His tongue's sticking out. I'll leave you alone, buddy. I'm just almost done with the questions, okay? So they ask, how many months after Cinnabon moved in did you realize kitties are far superior to dogs? It didn't take very long for me to convert from a dog to a cat person. Thank you so much for your videos. You're welcome. Thank you all for watching too. Do you ever give Cinnabon a kiss on the head? I do all the time. Don't I, buddy? I kiss you on the head all the time. Yeah. How does Cinnabon wake you up when he wants to go outside? Basically, he'll paw me a little bit, like in a nice way. It doesn't hurt at all. And do you plant your asparagus or is it wild? I did not plant it. I know that the previous owner probably planted it because it's in the garden area. So I never planted it, but it's not wild because they must have. But it does continue to come up by itself and propagate. So in that respect, it's kind of wild. I don't really do anything to it. It just grows and I pick it. Yeah. The last one I have is I have no questions. I just want to see Cinnabon. Well, perfect. There you go. So thank you for that. Well, that's most of the questions. There's a couple I didn't answer, but I answered 99% of them. Yeah. So thank you all so much for watching. And I'm sure that throughout the video, you might have asked some questions in the little comment section because this is a premiere video. So I may have not have been able to get to all those too, just because there's probably a lot coming through. So anyway, thank you all once again for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. You see something outside, buddy? You see something out there? Oh, I'm going to investigate. You're just going to chill on your blanket. Oh, he's deciding. Okay, he's doing something. Oh, there he goes. Oh, gonna stretch. I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I'm guessing at least probably around an hour. Who knows? Getting some water. Well, thanks again, everyone. I appreciate all the questions. Sorry if I couldn't answer yours. Some of them I can't answer for like security reasons or whatever, or if they're too private. So anyway, thank you once again, all of you, and we wish you have a fantastic rest of your Saturday. Bye-bye.